the Huddle with your host, Charles Prodigy Ritchie, here on the Mass Steel Podcast.
This thing belongs to Mr. Roney, belongs here, and let's see if we can bring this damn thing back here next year, along with the Super Bowl. Here we go.
The game is over. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it the hard way.
With the 10th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devin Bush, linebacker, Michigan.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition here of the Mass Steel Podcast. Of course, yours truly, Charles the Prodigy Ritchie, as you can catch me every Mondays and Wednesdays throughout the week, typically at 6:30 p.m., but lately I had to start a little bit later at a little after 7 p.m. Due to some circumstances going on. Once again, I hope everyone is continuing to be safe as this coronavirus seems to continue to get worse and worse by the day. As far as with the number of deaths tallying up, it's been reaching all 50 states pretty much in the United States, including Puerto Rico right now. I hope everyone is definitely taking the precautionary, limiting the amount of outside activity as much as we may want to. But again, I just hope everyone is in a better spirit so far. I know yesterday was Happy St. Patty's Day. Had a lot of stuff I was focusing on, so hope everyone had a great St. Patrick's Day and got a chance to at least have a little bit of closure yesterday with everything that's been going down. But anyway, let's break right into it. Happy new league year, as is officially 100 years already passed since the NFL has been around. In about 2 more years, it'll be officially the NFL. But they started off a different name, as you guys may recall. Can't remember the actual first name off the top of my head, but I do know it actually did turn into the NFL until 1922, even though it came into existence in 1920 when we look at it when it's all said and done. But for right now, feel free to leave me your comments. We're going to go over some free agency notes that have been happening right now since 4 p.m. Eastern time, since it went down. As everyone is well aware of, we have pretty much a few cuts right now. Everyone, just to recap so far, where we had the contracts of Johnny Holton, and then we also had Mark Barron, Johnny Holton, and then, like I said, you also had linebacker Mark Barron. Those guys, their contracts have been terminated. I mean, basically, for the time being, along with Anthony Chickillo. Of course, we got the retirement of left guard Ramon Foster right now. Ed Bouchette seems to feel like he doesn't see any reason why not, that the Steelers can't transition him into left guard, even though he's played a little bit in his career. Remember, this was a Steelers third-round draft pick 2 years ago. And I really have a lot of confidence in this guy, I think, filling that position, to be honest with you. I mean, definitely, I think right now, as you can see, the offensive line has been thinned. We already learned also earlier today, too, that B.J. Finney, who right now, this is reported by NFL Network's Tom Pelissero, that the Seahawks they are signing former Steelers offensive lineman B.J. Finney to a 2-year, $8 million deal per source. Spotrac notes that is including a $2 million signing bonus, $4.5 million guaranteed, and an average annual salary of $4 million. In 2020, Finney will be earning a base salary of $2.5 million and a signing bonus of $2 million, while carrying a cap hit of $3.5 million and a dead cap value of $4.5 million. And a lot of people look at it too, because you also got Derek Watt right now, who's one of the newly acquired Steelers right now. And as it was confirmed too, not too long ago, as we looked at it, I mean, when we looked at it, I mean, Roosevelt Nix, Ian Rapport, Brian Backel, of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported that the Steelers have announced the release of 5-year veteran fullback Roosevelt Nix. Remember, the only Pro Bowl he had was back in 2017. As everyone may recall, he had a great time in Steelers, such a good run blocker, in my opinion, and just did wonders for that offensive line right there, if you ask me. But like I said, you look at the rest of this offensive line depth. We're going to get ready to break it down here in just a moment. But you got to start to really wonder, because I even asked Brian Diardo when we were asking towards the end of our conversation. And thanks again, Brian, for calling in. Glad to see you on earlier today. Sorry I missed you. But when you look at the offensive line depth on who the Steelers have, I mean, it is really critical, because I think right now you got to believe their opening pick, I mean, it's got to be on offense. I'm not so sure if you really need another defensive guy. Obviously, the Steelers are always going to go with whoever's best available. But when you look at like the left guard position, I mean, Ramon Foster, who has been retired right now, you seem to think that Ed Bouchette thinks that Chukwuemeka Okorafor could be able to fill that slot right there. And I have no doubt about that. I really do believe he could be a guy right here who could really do something. I mean, J.C. Hassenauer will be the guy backing up with Ramon Foster, but I would like to see what Chooks could do. I really think Chooks is definitely going to be like what Stan Savage said, be a mauler, because this guy right here, the way I look at it, I really felt like there's going to be some special plans for him. I mean, it's not like the Steelers haven't been doing their homework on their offensive line, getting the protection over the years. But I mean, think about it like this. I mean, this guy is 6'6", 320 pounds, a very good sizable lineman for his position when you really look at it and you really see where it's all said and done. I mean, of course, Dallas Cowboys are always, all time with the 90s, with Troy Aikman, Evan Smith, and Michael Irvin, they're always going to be noticed as one of the greatest O-lines to ever have when they won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. I think a lot of people are always going to be looking at that as a standard, how you have a top-line offensive line. That's one of the things that made the Cowboys franchise famous, was the history of their own line. I mean, that's just some gold right there. And I'd be really interested, because Ramon Foster, granted, he was going to be like the scapegoat, more likely that was to be cut, at this point in time. But for him to retire at this point in time, it really starts to remind you how much he is more needed than ever. Then you also got to look at the pressure too right now, how much is to be expected on Shaun Sarrett going in year number 2 when we look at from Mike Munchak. So he's going to have to really, in the offseason, in my opinion, when you look at it, he's going to have to really reestablish the attitude of this old line with some younger guys. It almost seems like it was, was it meant for this way to happen? Where he's got to create his own identity in some ways, I guess you could say, for this. And I just definitely feel right now that, because remember, let's face it, they definitely need to fix some things in the run game too. With of course, they're still holding out hope for a guy like James Conner, that he can still return to that Pro Bowl caliber form. But again, you need to have some protection, especially with a guy like Ben Roethlisberger coming back off of throwing elbow surgery. I think that is so highly crucial of this. But again, if any of you guys want to tune in for today's show, the number to be reached and the text lines are open. You can call me, text me, or you can even comment on the Facebook page. The number, as always, to reach is 312-209-2232. Again, that number is 312-209-2232. You can follow me on Twitter at Prodigy Richie, at MetaSteel CJR. at On Deck CSR, Instagram, Prodigy Richie, at Prodigy Richie, lowercase, at Mass Steel Nation, that's lowercase, at On Deck CSR, capital O, capital D, and all caps for the rest. You also look up on my YouTube channel, which I'm streaming live off on right now, Mass Steel Podcast. And then for all the podcasts, in case you missed a show live, you can always check me out and search me, Charles the Prodigy Richie. So feel free to shoot away at your questions right here. I'm here to take them for right now. Like I said, I mean, hopefully this coronavirus gets well. I was hearing from Ron Cook that it could probably be a real thing where this thing could last for 18 months, and we may have to have things shut. I don't know. It just almost seems like it's like football. I mean, this is like a perfect time to be talking about how they finally got their deal. So then, I mean, there's so almost starting to become legitimate concern right now if the NFL season will be able to start on time. Luckily, Friday, I want to say they air from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's on 937 The Fan, as everyone checks it out. And I really gotta say, I mean, it's really unfathomable to think at this point. I really do believe it's on the table right now, as everyone can imagine and can relate to. But let's start. I want to hear your reactions right now, Steeler Nation. What do you guys feel about Tom Brady being out of the AFC, and now we have to deal with the future of Pat Mahomes and the season to the Miami Dolphins? And the Chiefs won their final game to get the first round bye clinched up. And not only that, for Tom Brady, who would have thought his last game would have been against the Tennessee Titans in the wild card round. And look at where we're at right now. A lot of people right now, I mean, think about this. I mean, you had at least 11 straight seasons of AFC East Division titles. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, 17 altogether in Tom Brady's career. And boy, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I gotta really believe that Tom Brady definitely felt like he was somewhat away frustrated. I mean, a lot of people were clinging to the fact that it was family related. They wanted to stay in the East Coast. But, I mean, one of the things, too, I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, I think the thing is there's been a level of frustration that Bill Belichick has definitely lowballed Tom Brady numerous times. And I just feel like Tom Brady definitely feel like he had a sticking point right now. I like the fit that he's going with a guy like Bruce Arians right now. I mean, yeah, he's going to be turning 43 years old this season. But, I mean, make no mistake about it. I mean, this is a guy who still wants to play till he's 45 years old. He made that statement, I think, when he was turning 4 years old. I mean, like about 3 years ago. And, you know, there's just one phrase I remember in high school when I was a senior, and I learned this from my poetry teacher who did some English poetry. His name was Dr. Kasicki. If anyone's joining on here, I went to St. Marie of Castle High School. If any of you guys are having to catch this live stream podcast right now, you'll know who I'm talking about, Dr. K. One phrase that I remember I learned big time from him, and it went like this: nothing gold lasts forever. I mean, think about that. Let that sink in for a second. Even like right now, when we're like, aside from like jobs, schools, bars, communities, church, all that stuff that is happening right now before our eyes, that's being put on hold, forcing everyone to kind of like hibernate for the time being. I mean, no offense. I mean, if anyone feels disrespected, my apologies. It wasn't intended that way. But you gotta look at it is like right now we are learning the ultimate discipline of what's like to really shelter ourselves in these crucial moments here. And I really like to know right now, as we look at it, how does this work out? I mean, for everything that has been going on. I mean, Tom Brady right now, he's going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're in the process of finalizing his deal and everything when we look at it. And I'd really be interested to see what the Steelers do in this situation here. How do they get ready to get back into combat when it comes for a year? And we'll see. For right now, I mean, it's just been reported that deal has been finalized. I don't know for how much yet, but still seems to be that connection right there where he wants to bring Antonio Brown back. I'm telling you, look, I know a lot of people in the media have been squashing, shutting it down, calling guys like Ron Cook or whatever, or whoever. I do feel like right now, a guy like Antonio Brown, believe you me, he is going to be back in the league somehow, some way. And the reason why I strongly feel that way, let's think about it. It's a business at the end of the day. You know how much right now the NFL, they have been like keeping themselves offensive-driven league ever since making the league a lot safer. It's about a lot more scoring totalities. I mean, this past decade. I really like to wonder right now, Ben Roethlisberger, I mean, his perspective when he's observing all this, how much does this really give him consideration for his health and well-being while especially continue on in the NFL? Yeah, I mean, you're definitely getting a lot more better, I think, revenue, in my opinion. I mean, coming up. I mean, the salary, I mean, cap for this year was supposed to be around $200 to $206 million. It's actually well short of that by about $8 million, as reports. But it's supposed to be kicking up the next coming year, probably up to $246 million. I think some of the reports we're hearing out there. But let's get ready to take a look at some notes real quick here. Also, too, I mean, like Derek Watt, like I said, for the Steelers to be signing him right now, he's making more than double than what TJ Watt is making currently on the roster. And you look at a guy like TJ Watt right now, this year he was to be earning $1.73 million with a $1.22 million signing bonus. His cap hit for the Steelers would be $2.95 million with a dead cap hit of $2.95 million. Now remember, he when he came to the Steelers, he had a $4.87 million signing bonus, of which 9.53 was guaranteed in his career. So under this new CBA, I think it's still yet to be determined that he's going to have both years guaranteed. I mean, for the remaining one. I mean, more likely they're going to pick up his fifth-year option. I mean, with him being a first-round pick. I mean, it's almost pretty much formality right now. But then again, do they tag him for these next 2 years? And we'll see where that goes. My answer is I would not be surprised. Obviously, he definitely wants to be taken care of. You definitely got to believe his brother, J.J. Watt, is going to be trying to go bat for his brother, make sure he gets the deal, a fair deal and shake here at this point. I mean, obviously, you don't want to be going in there empty-handed. And I think for what you did right now, earning your first All-Pro appearance in your third year, I think you definitely want to make sure your brother and your sibling is well taken care of, especially what he had, because this guy was a potential Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Obviously, that fell short. Went to the New England Patriots, as we found out at the NFL award ceremony the day before the Super Bowl, as that was Stephon Gilmore, who actually was able to get it. And Stephon Gilmore, I mean, definitely deserving of that. I mean, helped keep that Patriots defense intact. When you looked at it, I mean, who's a quarterback for the Patriots and what he was able to do. I mean, he did a lot of damage, I think. I mean, he's playing with a mastermind like Bill Belichick. So, again, where does right now TJ Watt, his market value is not on there, but you got to be looking, it's got to probably be like around a little bit more than Bud Dupree, in my opinion. It has to be. It's got to probably be looking, when you look at like the top linebackers who are being paid, I mean, in the NFL, I mean, like, where's TJ Watt rank? I mean, as far as in that, I mean, you got like right now, Khalil Mack. He's the number one outside linebacker with the Chicago Bears. He's making $23.5 million. Who's been a defensive player of the year, along with Von Miller, who's also had that honor. Chandler Jones, Zadarius Smith, Shaquille Barrett, Bud Dupree. So I'm looking at a guy like TJ Watt. And I'm probably looking at it right now. I mean, like I said, I'll probably compare him to like around a guy like Chandler Jones, in my opinion, who signed a 5-year, $83 million. I would not be surprised. I mean, if TJ Watt thinks himself a little bit more around there. I would say maybe make him for that. You probably got to keep it. I probably do $85 million for 5 years. When we look at it, which would be about $17 million. I wonder if he's going to command that much for this season. Those are things we have to pay attention to. I mean, he's coming off a real big mad peaking year for this team. And considering the fact that you obviously were doing it without your star quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger. You had the defense who really had to captain the ship. I mean, playing tremendously right there. And him and Bud Dupree clicking the way they do. I just feel you have to really think about that stuff, keep that stuff into consideration right there. I'm sure he's going to bring that to the bargaining table when it comes time to negotiating a new deal, an agreement, instead of receiving the franchise tag. He'll probably get like around the same, maybe I would say like what Bud Dupree is looking to get offered. That just be my opinion here. Again, let's get ready to take some comments again. If you guys want feel free to join in on the Mastio podcast. And we reach is 312-209-2232. Again, that's 312-209-2232. You can follow me again on Twitter at Prodigy Richie. You can also, like I said, you can follow me at MassSteelCJR, at OnDeckCSR, Instagram, Prodigy Richie, Masteel Nation, at OnDeckCSR, YouTube channel, Masteel Podcast, and of course, Mixcloud for all the latest Masteel podcasts. Charles the Prodigy Richie, and I just want to say, Becky, thank you very much for joining in as always here. Look at some other notes here as we look at it. For right now, I mean, remember Ryan Shazier, he got placed on the reserved and retired list. This is reported by Steelers writer Teresa Varley, who can be followed on Twitter at Teresa_Varley. His placement on the reserve and injured list, according to Kevin Colbert, serves as a matter of protocol to ensure his continued inclusion within our organization moving forward in his professional career, end quote, said Steelers GM and Vice President Kevin Colbert. Also, Art Rooney was chiming in on that. He was also saying Ryan is going to make some decisions on his future at some point. I don't want to speak for Ryan. he knows we want him to continue to be a part of the Steelers organization in some capacity. And like I said, he's been a great recovery story. It's so been a bad dream, I think, for me too, as a fan, watching this guy. And he got hurt the same year I got his jersey, back in September of that year. And it's just really, I mean, it just really just goes to show you how dangerous the sport can be, how much these guys lay on the line for these fans and what they do on the day in, day out basis. And like I said, I think more than likely, I'm not sure, a couple of years ago, I really thought he was going to be coming back. I think right now, you really have to look at it right now. You know what? Just stay where you're at. I won't put it past me. He tries to make a comeback, but health is definitely of the essence. I don't want to slam the door on his career, but I think just him just being a presence, like on the field and with his teammates, whether it be like an assistant coach or like a spokesman for the franchise, I think that stuff speaks more volumes, than anything. And I really do. I just think for right now, I think that's where his purpose is going to serve, and we shall see how that goes. But I'm looking at a man right here who, like I said, who's really given everything. He's taught a big lesson to a lot of people who he's touched along the way. Where it's just being a role model or just being a guy who has no quit. Definitely it's a lot more mental than anything when you really look at a guy like Ryan Shazier's career here. And I just really like to think, what's the decision going to be? And I really would like to see him just be like a spokesman or an assistant coach. I really think he could be an assistant coach. I got to believe he had a hand in really helping with the selection of a guy like Devin Bush right here. When you brought him over to the Steelers, trade up for him in the draft, and bam, look at what happened here. You definitely have a guy who's drawing comparisons to the way Shazier is playing. I gotta really believe right now he is going to be a spokesperson and a great role model and ambassador for this franchise. I think if anything more. If that's the way it's got to be, I'm fine with that. I'd rather just see this guy be healthy and living a happy, pain-free, and peace life. Especially being married, having kids. He's got a lot of blessings, a lot of things going for him. Again, definitely don't want to speak for the man, but I just wish him all the best right now. Since we're on this topic, Ryan Shazier, do you got any favorite memories of him being as a Steelers, being drafted 6 years ago when he came over to the Steelers back in the 2014 draft out of Ohio State University, right here, a Buckeye. Who's done very successful, in his time here with the Steelers, and everything was the embodiment. I just feel with him, look at right now, this is a guy who just wants to send a big-time message and just continue to big brother to this organization. So it's right now. I think first, my favorite memory of him will probably have to be in the 2016 Christmas game. Of course, Antonio Brown got the game-winning touchdown. The immaculate extension, but Ryan Shazier also made the game-sealing interception against the Ravens that put the game away for good and definitely officially allowed the Steelers to clinch the AFC North for the first time since 2014. And it was also the debut of their color rush uniforms. If I have one special memory of Ryan Shazier, it'll be that game right there. That game right there. Just having that game-sealing interception. Kind of like how you would say, I guess, like Troy Polamalu, even though it's on a different level, him getting a pick six against the Ravens in the 2008 AFC Championship game where number 43 took the Steelers to Super Bowl 43. I think stuff like that will always stick in my craw right there and memory. And always remember this guy for a lot. For this organization. He's definitely did a lot more than that. And let's get ready to go some other notes here. Also, too, on the free agency for the Steelers right now, you also got former defensive end and nose tackle Brett Kiesel, who's having a little bit of fun trying to lure T.J. Watt's older brother J.J. Watt over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. As you know, I mean, Brett Kiesel, I mean, the guy who just actually completed his Sharing the Beer charity for cancer at the UPMC hospital. I mean, this guy right here, when we looked at it, and Brett Kiesel right now trying to coax TJ Watt. He tweeted out to JJ Watt at JJ Watt on Twitter at BKiesel99. He said, you know, right now 99 is open. Then you had JJ Watt respond to him, does a beer come with it? And Brett Kiesel's response was probably not. Tire shot with your brothers, however. And I think that was very cool right there. Can you imagine if the Steelers were to get a guy like J.J. Watt on this team? I mean, for right now, I'm not really seeing it as of yet, but I'm looking at the Steelers right now as we look at it. I'm not sure how they're able to be able to pull it off. They got to definitely free up a lot more salary cap space. Right now, as we take a look at the updated salary cap space, I'm looking at Spotrac right now, and the estimated cap space so far, they're at $3.20 million. Hold on, let's take a look real quick. We'll look at overthecap.com while we're on the issue of salary cap space. Okay. So right now, the Steelers' cap space is currently $8.21 million, according to overthecap.com. Top 51, they are under it at about $2 million. It's $199.91. So about, I mean, they're pretty close right now. But I mean, like I said, you look at that right there. It seems like you would think they're under it at that point. As we look at it, I mean, Steelers, they definitely got some work to do. Obviously, as we think about right now, I mean, according to overthecap.com, the Steelers right now, including the top 51, a little bit thrown off though, but it's like about a little over $8 million right now, and that's about it. And aside from that too, it's like they're still about like $3 million, like shy of the getting under. So it's still over like $3 million right now at this point. I'm not, and that's why I'm saying I'm just JJ Watt. I think it'd be a nice pipe dream, but I'm not sure if he would be a guy that would be able to come over right now. I just feel right now when we look at it, it's definitely got a lot more stuff, a lot more looking in the mirror right now. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger had to restructure his contract from the reports that I was throwing out there. We're going to get to that in just a second here. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, you knew it was going to be inevitable since he signed his 2-year extension last year for a 3-year deal that he was going to have his contract come down. I'm not really surprised. Knew that was going to happen. And we're going to get into what exactly he did on his base salary here on this. And Ben Roethlisberger right now, and the news that was reported according to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, which is by Jerry Dulac right now. Or not the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Let's go Triple Live, I mean. Joe Rudder right now. So he has $8.5 million base salary and $12.5 million roster bonus converted into a signing bonus that will spread over the 2 years remaining on his contract. A restructure will provide a $9.98 million in cap relief for 2020. So, I mean, that's good right there. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger right here, I think definitely doing the noble thing here. I think he's definitely keeping that in mind. I mean, this is a guy who's still thinking like a team guy right here, still making sacrifices of his own too. But right now, I think that's the only thing. The Steelers, I mean, a lot of people are really like being a little bit interested right now. I mean, how many like teams like the Ravens, the Browns, expecting the Browns probably like be back a little bit better than the Steelers, but we shall see. I mean, look at last year, for example. I mean, signing guys like Odell Beckham Jr., and who else they had on there? I mean, some guys they had on here. And not that, you also had Kareem Hunt, too, who they picked up. And it just comes with, like, attitude and, like, focus right now with the support for a guy like Baker Mayfield. I'm still not buying into them until they show me otherwise how it converts into the regular season. I just feel what you have to do for right now, you have to be a little bit more patient and a lot more than that. So now let's get ready to get into it. Let's get into some fair or foul right now. Let's get into it right now. Fair or foul topic number 1, Steelers will draft offensive line. I'll still say foul on that one. It's going to be whoever's available, like Craig Wolfley would always say. I mean, who's even said that on Steelers Live. And I'm just not sure right now if the Steelers are going to want to go away from that. I mean, I think it's the offensive line is still doable, but like I said, definitely keeping Ben Roethlisberger healthy and on his feet is definitely a big thing right here. I think it definitely helps a lot. You still got a guy like Kevin Colbert around the pitcher who can still make a lot of stuff out of nothing and turn things into lemonade here. So not really ready to give up on that. I'm not sure who they could probably trade, but I'm not really too upset with a guy like Roosevelt Nix, guy who had a knee injury and stuff. You got to figure, I mean, another thing too, the Steelers probably going to be looking at him as probably like injury prone later on towards the end of his career. So I think there's a little bit of fear in that. I mean, when you pay a guy like Derek Watt a little bit extra instead of money like that, it is expected to happen right there as we look at it here. And that's going to do it for this edition here of the Men of Steel podcast. As you can catch me every Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I apologize, everyone, for the late start, but glad to have you on board here. And we'll continue to keep you posted. I'll continue to be on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me. You can follow me again at Prodigy Richie, at Mass Steel CJR, at OnDeckCSR, Instagram, at Prodigy Richie, at Mass Steel Nation, at OnDeckCSR, my YouTube channel, which I stream live on, Mass Steel Podcast, and of course for all the latest Mass Steel and On Deck on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com podcast, Charles Prodigy Richie. As always, leave you. Don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, sirs. Here we go. I gone.